Welcome aboard our Battleships podcast. This is a podcast analyzing anime relationships, whether they be canon or one the fans enjoy. Please be aware that our battleships are equipped with state-of-the-art weapons designed to leave no ships behind. If there is a ship that you hold dear to your heart, there's a possibility we don't. We are not aiming our cannons at you personally and mean no harm by sharing our opinions with you. We are simply anime fans talking about ships we either love or hate. This is not an informative podcast, so don't take anything we say as gospel. Keep in mind, our sails are painted in the blood of many spoils of war, displaying everything beginning to end. If you haven't seen the anime, we will reveal many of the exciting details to you, so you have been alerted. Again, this is your spoiler warning. Thank you for listening. I will now hand the wheel over to our captains.
Welcome to Battleships, Shipped or Sunk. We're anime fans discussing anime ships that we love or hate and come to final decision. Do we ship them or do we sink it with our cannons? My name is Zephra and I got a green cat tattoo for this episode.
She really did.
Yep. It's a cute little kitty.
Kitty. It's right on my arm. It's so cute.
It is very cute. All right, my name is Juno, and this podcast has been really fun for me so far since I'm a hopeless romantic.
Hi, I'm Kaylee. I'm the asexual that somehow came up with this romance podcast.
Weird.
Still don't know how.
We'll be starting our episode off with our roll for ships. This is a list of romance questions that we carefully came up with. We will be rolling a D100 to determine the question we answer. Before we talk about today's couple, let's roll. Roll. Rolling and shutting up now. 23. Oh boy, that's low.
No, that's good. It's the first time we've gotten low.
True, but those questions are more, right?
Which one?
No, it's
oh my
good.
gosh, I literally talked about this when we were talking about the
I just
questions
realized
and
that, and that's really funny.
Okay, what is the question?
So, question 23. What is a love triangle that even you have a hard time deciding between?
Oh. All right. I would have to say between Koya, Tamiki, and Haru.
Oh!
That's a good one, actually, yeah.
From
Ouran High School Host Club.
Yeah, Kiyoya, Tamiki, and Haruhi. Holy crap. That was one I was thinking of saying, but it's never actually really much of a love triangle, at least in the anime. So
No, but there's a bunch of ships between who Haruhi should be with.
yeah.
True, because they do, imply, the compatibility between, her and the Shadow King and with Tamaki.
Well, my idea is her with Tamaki or Koya with Tamaki.
Yeah. I ship Kiyoya and Tamaki more than I ship Tamaki and Haruhi.
Now, if it was Haruhi, her with Tamaki or Hikaru.
But I could also see Haruhi with Kiyoya, just because, there's that episode, that kind of implies it a little bit, and even his dad is interested in Haruhi after, at the end there. He's like, she would make a good match for my son. And then there's,
my gosh.
then immediately the competitiveness rises among all the dads. No! It's then you can only imagine, the whole host comes, dads fighting over Haruhi in the background, she's best for my son. Just oh my god.
But if those two did get together, how practical and, they would become billionaires easily. I could see.
Yep.
Yeah, and just, with how, level-minded he is, that would be actually be a good match for Haruhi.
Yeah.
She's so level-headed.
I should rephrase that all those kids are pretty much millionaires, but,
Yeah, except for Haruhi.
yeah. If they all started out, if those two started out at the bottom, they can climb up real fast.
Because my favorite line from her
Yeah.
is these damn rich people. She's so fed up with them at times.
I don't blame her. I'm like, ugh.
Oh.
But yeah, I can definitely see it with Haruhi with multiple characters, Tamaki with multiple characters. It's just it's hard in a way sometimes to be like, I want just this one, because you can see the compatibility of multiple characters with different characters. You're just like, which one do I pick?
Yeah.
The pros of being a multi-shipper.
Well, what is this? Isn't it called a reverse harem? Where all of the guys are compatible with her.
Yep.
One girl with multiple guy options.
Yep. That's pretty much Haruhi in this situation.
Yep, this
And
is a
at
reverse
least
harem.
Half of them are definitely ooh, possibly.
Interested.
Yeah.
Makes it even better that some of the dads in the background are like, I ship it. I want to know the brawls that happened in the shadows. She's from mice.
all the rich people brawls though, because they wouldn't actually throw fists. They would go.
That's what makes it
attack
funnier.
Each other's companies or something.
That's what makes it even funnier, because it's not an actual combat hand to hand, and it's just what are they doing? And people are like, what the fuck kind of business are they pulling right now? It's funny to imagine just all that little underhanded shit, and then being like, oh, shaking their fist of oh, I'm gonna get you back for this.
Alrighty. Juno, what is your...
I was selected as next. All right, so mine, honestly, that's really hard for me to pick sometimes, is Shirayuki with either Obi or Prince Zen from Snow White with the red hair.
Yep.
You
No, it wasn't mine, but that is a tough one. I'm glad you brought it up because I totally kind of forgot about that one because I haven't seen it in so many years.
Because they're both so good to be with Shirayuki. I can see the compatibility between her with Obi or with Prince Zen. But, if I have to pick, of course I'm going to go with Prince Zen.
Yeah.
Because, she's the reason. She follows him to his country and decides to repay her debt to him and everything by entering the court as a pharmacist for him. But at the same time, I'm like, Obi, and seeing him long for her.
And the amount of care and dedication that he puts towards Shirayuki is so adorable too.
It is. And then you also look at what Zen has done for her. And so it's just it's so hard between both of them. 'Cause I'm they're both such good love interests.
Oh, I need to rewatch it because it's been a minute since I've seen it. But
I need to rewatch it as well.
Definitely think that's a tough triangle.
It is a really tough triangle. So it was a struggle with my emotions. Be what? Oh, Zen, Obi. Shirayuki, what are you doing? Who are you gonna pick?
Well, I will say that the same vibe as Obi, Zen, and Shirayuki is the same vibe that mine has. And mine, let me make sure I say these names right. Tsubaki Aoi, Odana, and Jinshi from Kakuriyo Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. I, of course, have to bring that one back to the limelight because I've used it for about...
I have not seen I've only seen the first episode of both of these.
So here's the characters I'm talking about. So maybe you, Zephyra, can know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the main girl, obviously.
Okay.
With the leader of the ogre king that took her to...
The main demon dude.
Yeah, the main demon dude. And the fox demon, Genji.
Ooh, I need to look him up because if I remember correctly, he's a hot dude, right?
I've seen at least 2 episodes, so I know which characters you're talking about, but I haven't seen the show all the way through.
The thing is, in the first season, I really liked Odana, the Ogre King. I really shipped him with Aoi. But in the second season, you get more info on Ginji and Ginji's whole dealio, and immediately I can see a lot more compatibility between Aoi and Ginji as well. So,
Oh, the white-haired.
yeah, the white-haired fox.
Oh, they're
But
hot.
I love. Yeah, it's kind of the same as you, Juno. I'm just sitting there. I like both of them.
Yeah, I was
So.
right. Which character you were talking about when she shows me a picture?
Yeah. Oh, I love all of them so much, but we obviously know which one she's gonna end up with. So
I want a poster of
so it
this
makes me
picture.
sad for like Obi and the fox guy you're talking about, because it's like second male romantic lead, and you know they don't get the girl, but it's just at the same time you're rooting for them, because it's also you can see how good they would be together if they did end up together.
well, and another thing that makes it really hard is Ginji is a kind of a housekeeper in a way. He helps care for the place that Aoi ends up staying at. So he would be more of the like house taker, keeper kind of personality, while Aoi is there cooking the food all the time. Versus, the Ogre King would just have everybody else do everything for them. And, and just spoil the heck out of Aoi instead. So, yeah. It's so hard. It's so hard.
It's a challenge
Yeah.
with some of these love triangles, because you're just like flipping tables, like, which one do I pick? Which one do I pick?
I don't want to choose!
Well,
Or then
one
it's like, which one
question
comes
I
with me?
have. So one will be like the partner in cleaning and taking care of and running this place, where the other is like, I'll give you everything and you never have to work in your life. So my question is, with her, is she that busybody like in Seventh Time Loop? Or is she where she's like, oh yes, I would like that, but she can't just.
She's a busybody.
So.
Yeah, and that's what makes it hard, because the ogre king actually ends up respecting that about Aoi and lets her open up her own store. So, anyway, I could go on a tangent, but we're not here to talk about this couple. So I will talk about them another day.
We will come back to them.
Yes.
And same with Shiryuki, with Prince Zen, and maybe a little Obi.
We're just all going to cry because we have to make decisions.
And of course, we'll be talking about our high school romance.
Oh my goodness, yes. We'll talk about Ouran High School Host Club. Which couple? Yet to be decided, I think. So
There'll be a bunch of infighting, folks.
Now, our fellow shippers, it's time to talk about our couple, Maomao and Jinshi.
from
The Apothecary Diaries.
yeah, say from the Apothecary.
From the Apothecary Diaries.
Oh my gosh.
Fish.
And very much dog and cat vibes from these two.
Okay, let's first with their looks. Man, Maomao, she's definitely more that earthy tone. But for Jinshi, how would you describe it? I always saw it as that flirtatious cloud. No, not cloud, but
Cloud.
Actually-
Jinshi is a cloud.
more like a tornado for her.
Yes.
A clingy tornado that just won't leave her alone.
That has a very feminine look, according to Maomao. Because like the first episode, she's like, "Is that a woman?"
The first time she sees him, she's like, "Oh, that's a man."
That's
a eunuch, huh?
And she's like, "Oh, what a shame! That's such a good face, you know."
And not a way to procreate or put it to use.
Yes, no way to put it to use. No, I honestly really like their contrasting color schemes, because it is all kind of more, I would describe it a little bit more earthy, partially because of the, style of the anime. Unless you're in the inner court, then everything's bright pink. But
Quote unquote heavenly bright pink.
Yep. And, Jinshi has, purple hair, which contrasts but also complements Maomao's green hair very nicely. Which I'm a sucker for cool colors. They're my favorite colors in the rainbow. So
I love the cool color scheme we have going on with this couple.
Yes.
Man, me personally, I love all rich colors, but can't complain about the nice, cool colors that complement each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they look really good together. And I do like the height difference. Like, when you really look at it, like, he's quite a bit taller than her.
Yes, I was actually going to comment on that because I think it's so cute that they both have more feminine physique, more skinny, petite physiques. But the height difference helps tell them which one is male and female or whatever, I guess, if you want to differentiate it that way. I also just love the fact that Maomao is more rough and tumble and Jinshi is just, you know, I have to wash my hair very nicely or get it done and, you know.
Especially at one point when Maomao was like examining him. Of course, this is later, but like she's like, "Oh, look at his hands, so soft and delicate. Like, look at his face, like soft, supple skin, and all this stuff." And then she's like, "Rough him up." She knows exactly what she needs to do. So it's like, yeah, she's definitely the roll in the dirt child, and he wasn't.
Well, when you're talking about the small and petite, I think with height, it's tall women can be like more slender and petite in a different way than a short, slender, petite woman. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, I love the contrast, but also the similarities and the contrast match each other.
Yeah. I think it's so fun to see a small, quote unquote, meek character who is a spitfire ready to poison herself at any moment. And then you have this tall, elegant, noble guy who is having fucking mushrooms in the corner kind moments because somebody ignores him.
Yes, I love an unbothered queen, and then in the background is the bothered king.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, the time where he's like first starting to get to know her and he smiles or sees a group of women that are fawning and wooing at him, and he turns that charm onto her and she shivers, and he's like, why isn't it working on her? And he turns to the women again to make sure his charm is working, and then looks back at her and is like,
and she glares at him like no.
I love his reaction. I was like, what the hell is going on here? She's not swooning and fawning over me.
She is not giving in to the flirting. She has no interest here. Like, and that's even funnier because it actually is appealing to him. She isn't like, oh.
Well, it's different. It's new. Like, it's so that, like, ooh, I like this. Like, he gets the same old wooing and fawning, but then he has someone who's more able to be more real with him because she does not care about that. I mean, yeah, she comments about his beauty, but like she does not want that. So, one, he doesn't get the same old reaction, but
she sees it as more fact. You know, you are beautiful, instead of adding the emotion to it of, oh my God, you're so beautiful, please marry me kind of attitude.
Like a lot of the other girls in the inner court have with him, like with the sparkles and getting all flustered when he turns their attention to them. But then Maomao's just like, no.
Glare.
Then I could see why that would attract him more to her, is because since she's not so distracted or fawning or so all about his look, she's able to be more real with him.
Oh, 100%.
Because even he says, not only does she feel any lust toward me, like, but that look, and then he thinks of like her glare. He's like, oh, it sparkles. He's like, I've never been so harshly looked down on in my entire life. And he's excited about it, like.
Well, and even his right-hand man, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
I think it's Gaoshin.
Gaoshin, yeah, it is Gaoshin. He even went up to Maomao and was like, "Stop doing that! Stop doing it! If you want to make this out alive and me as well, like, please stop."
Oh, what was it?
So,
He
like,
says,
sweat drop.
please stop staring at him like he's a poisonous
Mushroom.
mushroom. And she's like, oh, I gotta be careful.
Because then she's like, oh, he likes it. Like, even
no.
but even the attendant is warning her, like, don't do that. Because even when he witnesses it, like, you know, because obviously when they're in private and she's just like, oh, like fluttering over it, he's just like, sweat drop. Like, oh.
And him constantly in the background, like, please don't stare at him like that. No, 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 no.
Yep, waving his hands, saying the big X. No.
But I really love how, like, they meet each other. Because, like, the first time, like, it's like they don't acknowledge each other very much. Because obviously, you know, she's passing by him saying, I need to find something to write with. And he's hurrying to the situation. But then it clicks for him for a split second. He turns around to look, but she's, you know, already run off. So then he's just kind of like, But then that moment comes back to him when the concubine Gyoko calls him to her home to tell him about the note. And then that instantly brings that memory back of, like, her passing by him. And he's just like, you know, like that calculating look.
Yep.
And then he lays that trap for her. He writes that note and holds it up. You with the freckles, stay here. Just like, how clever that was in a way, because none of the other girls could read.
Yep.
And
And I think, honestly, I don't think many of the girls in that scene had freckles in the manga. Because I just read the manga, or at least up to a certain degree. I don't know if in the anime they had freckles. So
in the anime, I don't think anyone else had it. So he already suspected her. And so with her reading and hesitating, confirmed it for him.
Yeah, he had to make sure that he heard her right when she passed by him to like that she can write. And then of course then she stays, and then she realizes herself, like, oh crap, this was a trap, and tries to leave last minute, like, no, I'm out of here. And then he grabs her and goes, I just told you to stay. And then she brushes his hand off and brushes her shoulder like he's dirty.
I love it.
And
so
he's just
much.
probably like, he's just like, huh?
Hold the phone.
Honestly, he is playing with her at that point of being like, I found this, and like shows her the note when they get back to concubine Gyoko's home and confront her about leaving the note. And she's like, no, that wasn't me. Like, and he's just like, oh, it wasn't you. So he's having fun with it. Because then even like the second episode, he's like, I have found the perfect pawn. Yeah, and more.
A new
than
toy.
that.
The manga that I read said something different.
Oh, what did it say?
So instead of saying that she was a pawn, he actually stated that it was a good idea to keep an eye on her so she couldn't turn back on and basically harm him or the country. It wasn't about being a pawn at first. It took a couple of chapters before he's like, oh, she's actually kind of useful. Initially, it was, I'm going to try to get her into the inner palace so that she doesn't have as much freedom and can get herself or others in trouble. Is more of the mentality they had.
When Ahif was making that comment, I took it as I found a new toy, not a pawn. But
yeah, like someone useful that he can use them and their skills. And then he even says like something about like seducing her to make sure she doesn't abuse her knowledge of medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then of course that backfires.
Oh my gosh.
So one thing I have to say about the whole like I have a new pawn kind of thing, I definitely think it's very interesting that he would choose to justify having her around as a pawn instead of just being like, you know, I kind of want to get to know this girl a little bit, you know. I think it's a little bit of denial on his part.
Definitely
He's denying the fact that this girl has intrigued him, because so far he's had so many girls come over to him and fawn over him and freak out over him, and he's just not interested in it until this girl, and he's having a hard time understanding that he's kind of intrigued by this girl who's like, ew, you stink, don't touch me. So
Jumping ahead a little bit to the first like banquet,
Oh, the garden party.
garden
garden party, and when she first she talks about poisons. He knows then he knows she has a thing about poisons, but like when he actually sees her get poisoned and how she is, when it actually happens, he's like a lot more panicked, like, no, this is not okay. Stop it.
Yeah.
Like, what you're doing, no.
Well, it's also something she couldn't, control, because obviously she was there as the taste tester, so unfortunately that was her position.
Like, he got mad at her when she's like, I wish I could have drank the rest of that soup, or can I please have the rest of that soup? And he's like, bonks her and says no.
Yeah, and he like looks at her like all funny when she gives him like an excited look, like, I tasted poison in that soup, and oh, you do not like that. Also in that moment, like when he originally called her a pawn, you realize that like that's kind of slowly starting to already change, because he's realizing that she's useful beyond that, but he's also like enjoying spending time with her. Like her interactions with him amuse him mainly because like he's like, I'm going to play with your hair, and you recoil, like, or gonna get close, and she's like, no, kiss.
But the first time he sees her dressed up without the speckled makeup, that first time he sees her like that, oh my gosh,
he's like, oh, it's you. Takes him aback for a second.
Yeah. I was so confused when she said, I'm not wearing makeup.
And he's like, huh? He was so confused at first, like, but what? Huh?
Hold up.
I know they never officially confirmed it, but I am almost certain he's the Emperor's son, or the current Emperor's younger brother that they talk about that had health issues.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that because that's a bit further along.
Okay, yeah, I'm jumping around, but I don't think he's a eunuch like they say he is.
Because trust me, I have shit. I have shit from the manga.
I don't think he's a eunuch.
Well, yeah, because you start thinking about that though at the garden party, because like he was like that person was supposed to be there. There was a table set for him near the Emperor, but he never showed. And Jinshi is late.
Yep.
When he sees Maomao running to the well to, get rid of the poison. So it's like, that really makes you start wondering, like, who is he in reality?
She notices a hairpin, but she expected that someone gave it to him. But later, when he's just flopped on the desk after the whole ordeal, Gaojuan was lecturing him about the hairpin. And that was a huge implication that hairpin means. And they said luckily no one figured out your real identity.
Because it made you also wonder, like, how much was the hairpin worth? Because obviously, he gave away something that must have been worth something.
Man, he gave
and then
her
also what the hairpin means.
He gave her a pure silver hairpin.
Yeah.
His attendant is so fed up.
Okay, we are jumping far ahead,
but now back to the hairpin. He is so upset she does not use that, like what the hairpin means, to ask him for help to take her out of the inner court so she can go on a home trip. He is so butthurt because like he does his work, and tries to hurry through it and finish it fast. And then when he's done, the first thing he does, he wants to go see Maomao. So he goes to concubine Gyoko's pavilion, and she is not there. And even the concubine says she ran off with someone, in the face of devastation he makes. I'm like, oh. And he's like, I gave her a hairpin.
But from her point of view, she's like, okay, he's a eunuch. She's certain that he's a eunuch. So there's nothing I can offer him because the only thing I have connections to is the brothel. So of course he wouldn't be, even if he is interested in going, there's nothing there for him because he's a eunuch.
I think, she kind of pretty much said, like, she couldn't think of a good enough reward for him to ask him for his assistance and, like, being able to go out of the inner court. But it's just He's just more upset she didn't think of him first.
And he's so happy when they do end up leaving together in the second season. And that is just what kind of reconfirms the fact that, yeah, dude, it's more than she's just a pawn.
But like his reaction in the anime when she's telling him about, oh yeah, I gave him a night of bliss and he was very satisfied when he left. The total misunderstanding of that face.
When she comes back and
That
she's like
cheesy
pouting behind her and is like, come talk to me in the parlor. And then she tells him that. And he immediately is like,
Dead face, like,
to the point that he drops his tea, just like, that should have been me. Because, and like, even Maomao doesn't understand, like, why he's so, like, shocked. He's like, why'd you drop that? Like,
Why'd you waste the tea, man?
I'll clean this up. Don't worry about the cup. I'm cleaning it up. And he's just standing
frozen
there.
in horror and confusion of being like, oh, you didn't ask me, and that's the reward the guy got. Like, what?
And then even after they cleared up the misunderstanding that it wasn't her giving him pleasure, that it was someone else, he was still very, very pouty.
Well, and then he goes and he does his work really quickly, goes to see Maomao, and she had already left
Again.
With another guy.
with a different guy.
And he's just like, no! Even his attendant was like, that must have been quite a shock.
I love his attendant so much because he's just sitting there quietly like, can you two just kiss already, please? So that way Jinshi stops having a conniption fit over here, please.
Oh, and it's funny that even Maomao like didn't clear it up the misunderstanding herself. They had to like grill concubine Gyoko. Just laughing so hard because she knows exactly what's going on.
She lives for the drama. She has her own personal drama, live drama show right in front of her.
Well, and here's the thing. She grew up in a brothel in a way. So it's one of those where, you know, she lives to see people squirm. That is like a big thing about brothels. It's just watching people get flustered over, you know, oh my goodness, there's a girl with big pretty tits in front of me. And, you know, so she takes that attitude and applies it to Jinshi, which I think is just so funny because Jinshi just does not expect it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, jump into a little bit to season 2. I love how they sometimes have a back and forth on giving each other a hard time. Don't ask me what episode exactly because I don't remember, but there's time where his work is piling up and she's giving him a hard time, like, how's your work coming along? Have you done? Are you slacking off? And he's avoiding the question or avoiding it. And then not much long later, he's like, shouldn't you be studying instead of cleaning? What are you doing? And she's like, like just scurrying off.
Skitter, skitter, skitter.
Skitter, skitter, skitter.
I love the ribbing. Like when they're like, oh, and then yeah, they tease each other about it, and the other one's like, nope, not making eye contact, run away.
Not gonna admit to anything.
Well, there's a lot of it too where Jinshi will start that like flirtatious arm over Maomao's shoulder against the wall and just tries to flirt with her. And she just immediately like somehow gets him to back off because of his shock or whatever. I think that kind of dynamic is so funny to see, especially as an ace person, because I could see myself a lot in Maomao in that matter, where I'm like, ew, don't touch me, don't look at me.
Oh, what was it, that honey, when they were doing with the honey incident?
Yes!
And he's like threatening to put the honey in her mouth to feed her honey, and she's like, save me, save me, save me. She looks to assistant, and he's like,
looking out the window.
not looking, and she's like, you traitor! And it took the lady,
Concubine Gyoko
Gyoko, coming up and scolding him and like, what do you think you're doing? And he flees, gets out of there.
His scurry run kills me every time as he like runs away to avoid her.
He knows what he's doing was not. But
even his attempt's like, please forgive this little prank. And she's like, you can do the licking next time.
Yes,
and he's like,
oh no. Now you know what I was going through.
Yeah, now you know what I feel like.
with the intention of him getting close and personal and the touching and it just
Cracks me up. I honestly love these two just for how funny they are, but also the serious moments too. Because yeah, when Maomao got poisoned at the garden banquet, he was kind of freaking out a little bit, like,
Not
oh my
just
gosh.
He hella freaking out.
And she refuses to admit to it or anything, and he's the one like, you need to do this. What do we do? Oh my gosh, you know. And it's so cute because I feel like sometimes romances are either purely serious or purely funny. I have a hard time sometimes finding those couples that have a nice blend of both. And I love the fact that this couple does.
Along with
they definitely go back and forth with like the lightheartedness and then the serious moments.
Man, another serious moment was at the end of part 1 when she found out about the firing. She's panicking. She hates it how the inner court is, but she loves her job enough to possibly eating poisons. Man, what a better job for her. But she's searching, and when she finally finds him, he thinks he's doing what she wants. But that dumbass lets her go. He doesn't properly ask her.
And then he sulks for the next, few weeks.
He's told her, pretty much asked her, and she says, let me work, use me. She pretty much tells him, let me stay here. And he's like, I don't want to be... I love how he doesn't want to be selfish, but the dumbass is like, I'm gonna let you go. I'm not gonna consider exactly what you want.
But he was like worried about going against her will because
That's true.
he knew she didn't like enjoy many aspects of the inner court. And he gets upset at the thought of like her finding out that he purposely concealed it so she could continue working in the rear palace when he knows she has a family waiting for her when her job is done and everything. And he didn't want her to hate him for it, like if he did conceal it. And then he was trying to think of her, and even his attendant notices like, well, obviously now she very much is not a pawn because obviously you care about her and you're trying to think of what she wants. But to me that was just a miscommunication because he was thinking she wanted this but she didn't. She wanted to stay.
He was certain he knew what she wanted, and instead of properly confirming, he did what he truly believed she would want. He wanted her to be happy, which in that perspective, it is a lot more than he feels a lot more for her.
And then also like do his job, versus, trying to hide things. And then also her potentially finding out and her reaction that scared him because he said like he was already afraid of like widening the gap between them that there already was.
Do you want to know what I think? Honestly, this is a headcanon of this scene. It's not canon at all. I think he was bothered by that she was just so, you can use me however you want. What exactly do you mean by that? And he probably panicked and went, we're letting you go. I could totally see something like that. Especially given some of the info that I do know from the manga that's not in the anime. I definitely could see that being a potential option just because Jinshi is special. But I honestly think it is interesting that Maomao has conflicted feelings towards the entire ordeal because it wasn't that she necessarily wanted to stay in the inner court that kept her there as much. She stayed there because she feared what the verdigris would have to do to pay off that debt she just had by sending the soldier to the brothel.
Yeah,
you know, she's
worried
like, I
about-
don't want to become a courtesan. Please don't send me back.
And I also just think she enjoyed her job as like a poison taster. She did probably get attached to like concubine Gyoko, her daughter, and her other ladies in waiting. So it's probably also like she didn't want to leave them too. Because you also think about her job has a time limit, you know? And so it's like when it's up, she would leave. And then the high probability she would never see any of them again.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think at this point in time, she obviously was enjoying what she was doing because she was also solving like little mysteries going on in the palace, and probably that, you know, was fun.
She enjoyed solving the mysteries. Like, she had plenty of times where she could have just walked away and ignored, but every time a mystery, even a small mystery, pops up, she couldn't help it. She enjoys trying to solve these little things.
It's because she's a cat. Curiosity kills the cat.
Yes.
Probably by
Okay.
poison, and hopefully by poison, according to Maomao.
And I mean, she had a pretty good life. I mean, she was able to make the drugs again, you know, once they all learned she could make medicines, and she was probably having a lot of fun with that, you know, and she was also getting the rare ingredients when you think about it, you know, the
Oh, yeah.
expensive stuff, and was like, ooh, I mean, every time she's in, you know, that doctor's office, you see her wiggling in delight and dancing. And so they're like, what kind of demented dance is that? Like,
And the first time she's in there, she's making that aphrodisiac, and she's like, these are all expensive ingredients that are just here. And she's like, ooh, I have a little extra, so let me make myself a little treat.
I love it. Because, I mean, even later, she says all that time that she missed was just being able to experiment with her poison.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because she definitely...
She had a lot of fun with that,
Okay.
y'all.
I gotta laugh that when he's like, okay, I'm gonna pay off her debt and so I can get her to come work with me or be with me now that I know that she wants her job back. I just love how he bribes the old woman is with gold, and then how he bribes her is with poisonous plant, very, very rare poisonous plant that got them leaping and jumping and like,
I don't think it was poisonous because she talks about using it in like
Medicines and
stuff.
stuff.
It was just something growing from the corpse of an insect or something that was
Yeah,
really
it was
rare.
an insect plant thing, but
so
no,
it might not necessarily have been poisoned, but by that point he knows her well enough to know what like
she would like.
that would drive her. Then, come on, not long after, she's inside the palace. She's like thinking about, oh, how I'm gonna use this. And turns around and says, hello, welcome home, master.
She doesn't say that. She just turns around and says, welcome home.
But she says it. No, she says, welcome home, master.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't ever say that.
In the dubbed, she says master. I know you watch it sub.
Why?
But then she's like, says something else that's all sweet and kind, and he's like completely frozen and bonks his head just to like, this can't be real. I have to be in
I
a
have to be
dream.
dreaming. Wake me up, wake me up.
This is a dream. Like, there's no way.
The one time he saw her with sparkles around her, and he was just like,
I think it's so cute how much their relationship changes and grows, though, with Maomao being with Jinshi a lot of the time and living at his home. Because up until that point, Maomao had believed that Jinshi was just kind of a freeloading eunuch who was kind of lollygagging, doing whatever. And then she finally realizes, oh, wait, this dude actually does do work. Huh, interesting.
Sometimes he avoids it to come see me, but
Yeah.
he avoids it to come see me, but
and she didn't know that before. But like going back, but right before, you know, he buys her out from the brothel, she finds him sulking at a table. Like he's still so upset of having to let her go.
Yes.
And she just approaches him, not even at first realizing it's him, which is kind of funny to me because it's like, it's very obviously him. And she's like, I recognize this voice when he tells her to go away. And then the moment he sees her, his eyes light up. And then like he reaches for her. And of course she goes, don't touch the courtesans.
can I not touch? Can I really not touch?
He's like so upset.
Just one finger, just one pat. I promise I won't be rough or anything like that.
Yeah, and she finally gives it, but still like, The way he touches her lips and then touches it to his own.
An indirect kiss. But to me, it's like, I think he was so desperate to touch her to like confirm she was actually there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh, you missed your little poisonous kitty.
Your feisty, poisonous kitty.
And at first, like, he's like appalled when she's like, I may have to take on clients, you know, to pay off my debt. He's like, what? He's like, what if I buy you out? Like, how fast he came to that. And she's like, huh? Oh, wait, that might be a good idea. The fact she agrees to it and like agrees to come back and tells him how she really feels. And he's just like, he like wilts onto the table just like, I misunderstood. Oh, like this gonna, like none of this would have happened. He wouldn't have been back at his office growing mushrooms, Tamaki style. Just all that wouldn't have happened. But at least at that point they communicate clearly. And he does show up days later to buy her out. And then he requests her. And then his face, though, when he comes to get her, she's all dolled up by her sisters, and he's just like blushing, and her sisters notice, like, oh
no, they noticed for sure when they were having that little conversation. At the end of it, all of the sisters were staring and like, Maomao, what a catch you found.
And she's like, don't tease me.
I want to bring up something in regards to all of this. Maomao knows what the hairpin means. She knows what this buying out thing means, typically, to a courtesan. I think it's so interesting that she would be okay to consent to that sort of thing. Especially, I think for the hairpin, it's a little bit more mild because she obviously was very clearly explaining to, I can't remember his name, but the soldier she ends up going out with.
That she was just using it to like get out.
She was just using it to get out, and that he would get
a reward
for it. But, you know, all of this with Jinshi, there is nothing confirmed other than the fact that she would get to leave the Verdict Grays and go back. She had no idea, I think, at the beginning that he, you know, wasn't going to marry her or use her as a concubine or anything. I'm pretty sure she would assume that he wouldn't because he's a eunuch and stuff like that. But I just think it's interesting. She put herself in a vulnerable place in a way.
Well, also with that, she knew that when she returned, she's able to return to the palace to have she thought she was gonna. At that time, when she said yes, she thought she would get her old position back. But the difference is that she can return home whenever she wants. It won't be trapped there anymore. But lo and behold, when she comes back, oh, you failed the test, so now you're just, if you want to say, you have to be Jinshi's assistant.
And I also think it was her desperate to not become a concubine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because when you think about, like, her mom, she didn't want to repay her debt that way. And so even having to, like, depend on Jinshi to buy her out, she was willing to take the risk so she didn't have to go down the path her mom did and even her grandmother did. She didn't want that life for herself. She enjoyed being an apothecary.
Yeah.
Like her dad.
And she knew that when she returned to the palace, she would be able to continue that work in one way or another.
She did really think she was going to be returning to concubine Gyoko's side. He didn't actually clarify with her that she would be coming to work for him. But of course, she's, you know, like, oh, like at first when she realizes that she's not returning to the old position, she now has a new position, but with a lot more freedom. And so and it ends up working in her favor in that sense of being able to.
And she's still able to mess with poisons, still able to solve mysteries.
I don't know about how much she's able to mess with poisons, because remember when she like ate that seaweed? And
oh my god!
And she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I have an agent right here. I'll be fine." And he's like, "No!" and like rips it from her hands and like vomit, shoves it in her mouth, and
well, okay, she doesn't get to, but she still sneaks poisons. Like, she still messes with it even though she shouldn't.
Again, that same scene, she tries to reach for him and he goes, hey! And he grabs her. She doesn't have as much freedom to try her poisons as much as he likes because she has someone watching her very carefully because she stresses him the fuck out.
I gotta admit, I do love how both of them despises her weirdo father.
Both of them.
Oh my goodness.
And
He
so-
creeps me out excessively.
Well, what was it? Remember the first time we saw him on the screen? The first thing I said is creeper.
Yeah,
Creep.
you did.
The first words, the first thought is creeper, creep, like hell. no.
Stalker. Yeah, no.
Yeah, lol.
Well, obviously they wanted you to think that way.
And I was right thinking. Man, on a very side note,
I actually feel bad for
I feel
him.
bad. Man, for him, he tried to lower her price, which he successfully did. But before he could buy her out, all the other sisters or other women in the brothel hid her away and shooed him away. Like, they hid her from him, which I can see why they would want to after what he did. But once he realized that she was still there, he really did love her and want to take her away or save her, buy her out.
Yeah.
He just wanted to
But
be
his
her dad.
tactics were absolutely terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I think, well, think of
But
it this
that's
way.
off
Like,
topic from our couple, so.
yeah, losing his lover, when you think about it, that would drive him to desperation, to be with his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last gift his lover left for him, thinking that she's gone.
I'm just thinking of a modern AU where Maomao and Jinshi are trying to have a relationship and purposefully trying to spite her father and all of this. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. I mean, even he's all like, like giddy about it. Cause like when she challenges her dad, to a game and and then he tells her, if I win the game, then you'll come and live with me. Right. But she's like, then you have to wait for my term of work, to end because I'm employed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, oh, and like turns to Jinshi like that coy little fox. And Jinshi's just like, he gets like hackles rise up and you're just like, he's like, oh, so it's not what I thought it was.
But I do love, like, how every time Jinshi is struggling with one of his ridiculous puzzles, the first person he thinks of or goes to is Maomao. And she delivers. Like, she's successful on figuring it out and helping him. Like, she doesn't have to help him. She's doing it because, yeah, she loves puzzles, but I think she also likes... Actually, no, I think she's just doing it for the puzzle.
So
Puzzle's sake.
I will say this. I think Jinshi really appreciates the fact that Maomao isn't swooning over him 24/7.
Oh, yeah.
Because honest to goodness, I'm sitting here thinking about it. Anybody that he would go to for these situations to try to solve these puzzles would immediately try to bed him or try to give him an aphrodisiac and try to have a night with him. And while the person who is the most capable to make said aphrodisiac would never think about using it on him, and I think that's such a relief off his back. So I don't blame him in the slightest for going back to Maomao, even if he didn't love her, which obviously he does.
And I think he really respects her intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And that he keeps coming back to her for all these different things going on. And she delivers. She helps him. And he is really appreciative of that. And she obviously then, like you said, isn't asking for a favor of some sort afterward. I mean, he gives her little prizes like food or booze or something. But she's not requesting something of him that he would be really uncomfortable with, because then you think about like that one official who apparently gave him like that food with that drug in it, and he was just like and then like boards his door later that night. Like, but then you think about Mama would never do that,
No.
The one most capable would never.
Yeah.
But then like I actually sometimes wonder of like a little later in the anime that when he catches Maomao when she falls off the wall after talking to the concubine right before she leaves.
Yeah.
And it's like, what was he doing there? Like, was he looking for her specifically or just so happened to walk by just in time?
He said that the concubine was drinking with him, apparently. He said that she was drinking with him, and then she left to go for her walk, and that's when she talked to Maomao, and when she came back, she kicked him out. And so I think it was part coincidence that she fell on him. He saw her, startled her, and she fell on him.
Yeah, because I'm just like, or was he maybe purposely like looking for someone or something? Because then like
he was highly drunk.
Yeah, he was.
He was wasted.
Yep.
And then the fact that then he just like clings to her because he's upset. And at first she's just like, unhand me, like trying to get him to let go of her. Notices that he's crying, and then he like quietly pleads with her to stay with him, like keep him warm for a little bit longer, please.
Yeah.
And like buries his face in her shoulder, and so then she sighs, but she stays and lets him cling to her. And it just like, I think that really also puts a change in their relationship too, because then right afterward, that's when he finds out that he is going to have to fire her. And then that's probably part of the reason why he was so hesitant at that point too, because like he had obviously developed more emotional attachment to her, and so just like losing her, he didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then of course then he's able to buy her out, and he's like, I want her back at my side, even if she comes and works for me, just to make sure she's back in the palace close to where he can be with her.
Man, look at the big event. She didn't know it was him, but when she was trying to save the person in the ceremony, and afterwards, like the huge amount of concern he had for her, not the fact that he was almost killed, but the fact that she was injured.
Yeah, that was rough. Seeing that soldier strike her, and like the fact she was concussed and very nearly like passed out because of how hard she was hit, but yet her determination to make sure she could save the person inside got her back to her feet. And she, of course, I don't think she knew it was him, of course.
No.
But then even she's just like, what are you doing here? After she gets inside, runs in, and sees him performing the ceremony, and just gets there just in time to knock him out of the way. And she gets injured doing it too. Her leg on top of her poor head. And then the adrenaline fades, of course, and then she passes out in his lap, and he's just freaked out going, hey, don't pass out, like,
you stay with me.
And just then he carries her out himself.
Just that whole scene, it's like, oh my gosh.
Really tugged at my heartstrings just because of how concerned he was that he took her himself. Immediately went back to his own home and had her attended to. Because then when she wakes up, she's in his bed. Like, he didn't take her to be left at like the doctors and everything. He made sure she had the best care with him and his attendants.
Well, and the old lady attendant too even told her that he had a conniption fit when people wanted to send Maomao to a doctor or an apothecary.
And how upset he was.
Yeah, he probably felt responsible too, because she got injured saving his bacon. So, I could see it being a little bit of both a guilt thing and just a sense of worry.
Yeah, and probably feeling helpless too, especially since she fell unconscious into his lap, and then she was probably out for a couple. I don't know how long she was out for.
I think it was like a couple days. But
well,
I don't remember.
Taking that head hit, I mean, I don't blame the poor girl. I mean, she managed to still get to her feet after being hit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, but man, on a slightly lighter note, let's talk about her and his first outing together.
Yes.
Like, come on. You cannot tell me that was not a date. That was totally a date.
It was. And you know how we were talking about the whole giving shit back and forth to each other?
Yes.
That entire day was just that. You know, you can't slouch, Jinshi. Oh, you can't call me Jinshi. Oh, then what do you want me to call you then? You know, this whole back and forth scenario.
I loved it.
Just continues.
Oh my gosh. It's just, and like, even after, when she makes him ugly, the assistant and the grandma were so ready to jump on her and make her pay for what they did to their poor Jinshi.
It was, I think, actually more a ploy on the fact that she put the lipstick on him.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
So good.
When like all of them were like, oh, what have we done? And you're like, he's like, what's going on? And she like rubs it off really fast. Like nothing happened. And they're like,
No one outside of this room could ever see that. That would really start wars.
Which then makes you really think of how attractive he must be, that if apparently even just putting a lipstick on the man makes everyone swoon and apparently fight for him.
On the date, she's like, we could have dressed him up as a woman, but no, that would have definitely started wars.
That would have ended very poorly.
And then it's even funnier to imagine him having, being dressed up as a woman, like how that would have gone down.
He gets so pouty and upset at her that she's not talking to him as they were walking along.
And she's like, there's nothing to say. And he's just like, wow.
There are so many times in that whole thing that he ends up pouting. Honestly, on the powtometer, definitely that episode is on the top.
That lets you see like how their relationship has developed from like the first episode. Like now they're comfortable ribbing each other.
Oh yeah.
It is.
I think another part of that date I want to include is the very end of said date thing. Right before he goes off to his meeting and Maomao heads home, he asks the question, how do you decrease the value of a courtesan? And immediately strike the hardest thing for Maomao to really think about, which is her mom. And it's so interesting how he picks up on that and ends up basically frowning and pouting the rest of the time. Because he realized that he hurt her in a way, even though he didn't mean to. He understood that and felt bad about it.
She was able to tell him and stick to the facts, but like, that is most definitely a sore subject. And I love how he picked up on that. And it's like,
yeah.
Felt guilty about even asking in the first place.
Yeah. I hate that her father gave him that idea in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even like the blue roses and challenges him to bring blue roses.
Oh my goodness.
And then Maomao undertakes that task, and
poor Maomao, all the shit she had to deal with, man.
She delivers, man. Yeah, she fainted and was asleep for like 2 days, but she knew how difficult it was, that it's
especially for something that doesn't really exist. And then
she
trying so hard
delivers for him. Like, yeah, she likes the challenge, but she really tried for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she reopens her leg wound during this whole thing, and then he like grabs her leg and is panicking and yelling at his attendant probably to do something. But just that concern he shows over her, I love it that he cares so much and tries to do what he can, to repay her for all her efforts. But then that final scene in the last episode of where she's dancing atop the wall, just
oh my goodness. So I want to bring something up with that because you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't get to this point in the manga and I haven't watched the anime for a bit. Doesn't he ask a couple of questions about it too? Like some clarifying questions about the dance and the courtesans being sold and stuff like that?
He does, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so beautiful because up until that point, 99% of the information that Jinshi got about Maomao, he found out through the back alleyways, basically. There is very little information that Maomao offers to him until that moment.
Well, I did notice that, like, after her encounter with her dad, that she opens up to him about it a little bit, like, telling him, like, she doesn't hate him, but she, doesn't like him and stuff. So that's when I really saw her, like, starting to open up about herself to him. And then the fact then when he sees her dancing atop the wall and joins her up there, he asks questions about it. So it's like, oh, things are opening up between them more. They're being more open.
Now, when is Jinshi going to dance on the top of the wall with Maomao? That's what I'm waiting for, guys.
Season 3. Season 2, part 1. There you go.
But what I do like is I did find out from the manga, apparently, like, when she was dancing atop the wall, he was actually on the side watching her at first before he was able to get up there. And then the anime just startled her and catches her before she falls off the wall, which is,
Yeah.
I just like their quiet conversation together in that moment. And then she realizes her wound opened again. And then she's just like, don't worry, I'll sew it up right now. Whips out a needle and he's just like, ah!
And it's back to the chaos.
Immediately. And he's just like, nope. Grabs her and then jumps off the wall. And even she screams like, oh my gosh.
I love that attribute about a lot of couples, though. That overprotectiveness, the sense of you're going to hurt yourself. Stop that.
Like, I would say there's extreme overprotective, which is over the top, won't let him do anything that's red flag overprotective. And then there's the beautiful overprotectiveness, like Jinshi and Maomao. There's a line that the couples you love most are the ones that don't cross that line.
Agreed.
Yeah, and just I love that then he like scoops her up in his arms and she's like, you can put me down. But he's like, nope, you'll reopen your leg wound further. Nope, I will carry you. This is not the first time I've carried you like this, by the way. And she's just like, oh.
Right.
But what I love is like, oh, I need to tell you something. And he's just like, she gets all close and he gets all nervous because he thinks she's gonna kiss him or something, and she's just like, can I have the ox pizza heart? I love it because then he's just like, oh my god, and then he headbutts her, so we don't get the beautiful kiss, but we get a romantic headbutt. And then she's like, oh, and they start like yelling at each other, like, she's like, what? You don't have it? Don't be ridiculous. Like, he's just like, come on. But I love that he carries her back and then it's just like, nope, I'm gonna make sure someone else attends to you, and
I'm not leaving you to your own devices. You'll try to poison yourself. Are you kidding me?
Or try to sew yourself back up, Like, what you doing? But I just love where they left it off, at the end there. The stars above them and everything, and she's just like, he is easiest to talk to when he's being immature. Because, yeah, we've gotten a lot of that at the end there when she starts working for him and she's like, wait, he's not as mature as I thought he was, pouting.
He really needs to stop pinching the bridge of his nose. It makes him look childish.
Sulking across the desk. Growing mushrooms.
Okay, I think we talked about everything. Probably
much,
not, but
we covered pretty much everything.
When we do our review, there we go.
Yeah.
Now, Captain, let's talk about our tropes.
Tropes.
All right. Juno, what's your first trope?
No romantic resolution. A romance arc ends without anyone getting together.
That's this entire story.
Yep. Nothing was confirmed between them besides the romantic headbutt at the end, but yeah. And the bridal carry, and I'm sorry. I love that end scene with them. Just, but it, didn't end quite the way I was expecting it to.
Gosh dang it.
But yeah, we're definitely in for a slow burn couple, folks.
Well, mine's along the same lines of all love is unrequited, where romantic affections are not returned. And I will say that this only applies at the beginning. You know, he is flirting with her, but she doesn't return that affection in the same way he expects it to be. So I think that's why this trope fits them.
Yes.
All right. She cleans up nicely. The frumpy love interest looks beautiful when they get dressed up.
Yep.
That speaks for itself.
Yep, because he's even stunned the first time he sees her all dressed up for the garden party.
Yep. And well, honestly, Jinshi also gets cleaned up nicely with the lipstick. So it goes both ways.
He's beautiful and then turns more stunning.
Yep.
Man, even when he wakes up in that state, oh, babe. Talk about husbando.
Yes. And then another trope of mine was romantic ribbing. Love interests tease their partners. There's a lot of that.
I was going to say, that happens? Are you sure? Are we talking about the same anime here? Okay. Love can make you gonk.
Oh.
Love causes a character to have cartoonishly exaggerated reactions. I think we've talked about a few situations where this applies. What do you guys think?
Definitely. Yep. Welcome home. Stare. Bonk, 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 bonk. Or I gave him a night of blissful dreams. That's perfect.
Yes.
So the trope is talented princess, regular guy. So it's more like talented girl, regular prince.
Yeah.
But a romantic pairing consisting of a princess who is skilled and a guy who is pretty ordinary. I'd say he's pretty good, but seriously, her brains and knowledge and how she can solve, she's pretty epic.
She is pretty epic, but I also don't think we can necessarily call Jinshi dumb.
I'm not saying dumb, I'm saying more regular.
Yeah, I definitely think he's more akin to how a prince is, you know?
Yeah.
He's not anything more unique, I guess.
At least
in that way.
not yet. They haven't showed his more, like, I'm sure he has some sort of more talent, but they haven't gone to that yet.
Yeah.
They've been more focusing on her and her skills.
We know he's a good swordsman because, I mean, we see
The
clip.
calluses.
Yeah, that he
And his
and sparring with a
abs.
partner, you know. So obviously he's good at fighting, but we don't see that. very
Yeah.
much.
She even notes that, like, she was pretty surprised at how ripped and at the calluses. Like, she was a little surprised about seeing that. So
Yeah.
there is talent. We just, compared to what we've seen, he's a quote unquote regular guy.
so
Yeah.
far.
All right, now for the big moment of truth. Captains, what is your vote on today's couple? Do we ship it or sink it?
Ship. Duh. Although I wouldn't necessarily mind Maomao staying a single ace queen for the rest of her life. Just it would make my little ace happy heart so happy. But yeah, I do ship these two.
I think they're a really good match for each other. Their dynamic works really well. They're both funny and they tease each other, but they also can have their serious moments, and they're getting more open with each other to talk about tough things and everything. The only thing sometimes that I hesitate about is I don't like how Maomao has made it obvious that she doesn't really want him to be like touching her and kind of getting in her space, but he's not very good at listening to that boundary.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel a little frustrated because it's just like, it's obvious she doesn't want to lick your fingers to get the honey. She doesn't want you to touch her shoulders. She doesn't, like, when you get really close and personal, she like kind of moves away from you.
Mm-hmm.
She has her personal boundaries, and sometimes he definitely pushes that.
But at the same time, I can understand it. Like, it's almost like he doesn't think about it because of, like, how he flirts with other women. Like, they like it when he gets close. They love it when he touches them and everything. So it's, like, ingrained. So I don't think it's, like, intentional.
I think there is a moment or two. There are moments like with the honey where he is purposely pushing it just to see her reaction. But like he's really riding that line. Like I wonder if that concubine didn't catch him and didn't stop him, would he have stopped on his own or would he be kept going? Like how far was he gonna cross that line?
Yeah, so that's the only thing that I can think of that makes me go, But at the same time, I don't think he's doing it to purposely upset her. Like, because he doesn't think about it, because everyone else is so warm to it. It's almost like at the same time, all he knows, she glares or hisses like a cat and stuff. Like, it's still at that same time, like, that he doesn't think about it.
Yeah.
But it's also like, he also wants to touch her because, he likes her. And sometimes when you like someone, you just can't help but, you crave to be close. But I will say, despite of all of that, I ship them.
He's total energy of hissy, feisty kitty that wants to kill you. I wanted pets. Pets that big, vicious kitty that's gonna kill you.
So it's Zephyr's kind of guy.
Yes. Hell yes.
And this is the case that, like, the dog and cat dynamic work.
Yep.
Okay, for me, ship. I truly believe it is able to have a couple and someone who's completely ace, and him, yeah, he might tease it, but once they get to fully get together, he can respect her boundaries. And not every relationship has to have that banging.
Yeah.
So
very true.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it as a beautiful ship. They work really well together, and I love it. I want that husbando.
I really think the fact that Jinshi obviously puts limits, but encourages Maomao to experiment and be outside of her box and think new things. That's, I think, a big reason why he brings so many problems to her. Because he knows that she enjoys them and he wants to continue seeing that happy, expression and all that. So.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed listening to us talk about our favorite ships, leave us a review on whatever platform you listen to. You're also welcome to send any couple recommendations or questions for a role for ships to our email, battleshipspod@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Next time, episode 7, Miyamura and Hori from Horimiya.